Rocket League! Divide and conquer!
Lizards. I mean, kids.
Stand down and surrender.
Giving redundant commands.
This doesn't have to get any uglier than it already is.
Saying this when we all know how dedicated the show is to animated gore.
Darkwing not coming? Red Rush?
Martian Man's helping Dark Blood.
This banter could and should have occurred before or after the battle. This is primarily here to let the viewer know who is and isn't coming to this dinner party.
I'm not gonna make it, am I?
Well, given that we haven't seen you at all in present-day Invincible, I'm gonna say your chances aren't great, Polly. Show will keep us in suspense about why Nolan doesn't pursue this car. By suspense, I mean it never comes up again.
Bring my specimen back.
Title of my sex tape? Driving without a license plate.
We can take it from here, Mr.
Dr. Brandyworth. The child about to be born is unique in every conceivable way.
Saying something vague like this instead of giving actual helpful scientific facts for the ER doctors. Also, there's something to be said about how the two doctors manage to spend more time arguing than caring for their patient who will die in a moment. I think there's a malpractice suit in here and it's never pursued.
We all thought she was gone, but she came back to us. All on her own. We don't know how, but she did.
Seems like y'all could have made a better lie than that. Come up with some medical explanation. This is just one step away from somehow Palpatine returned.
Our Samantha Eve Wilkins.
Let this be a lesson that a proper role commercials is just as much about the tone of delivery as it is about uttering the right Patronus. You got embarrassed by your child staring at the floor? Kids do way more embarrassing stuff than that. Have you never seen a child with Tootsie Rolls stuffed into each nostril? The periodic table of no elements. How in the world is this painting missing its Christina?
Oh, she's not gifted. She's just weird.
You can be both. Never got the need for characters to start dealing in absolutes like a Sith every time a show needs to drum up some tension. Dr. Brandyworth thinks creepy stalking is protecting, a tactic that goes on far too long and is way more successful than it should have been. In a perfect world, he gets arrested long before he even has the opportunity to help Eve.
He can barely keep his skin on his bones.
Damn, Lance Reddick is just such a commanding presence, whether he's checking assassins into a hotel or running a top-secret military research division. So here's a sin for the universe, for taking him away from us too soon.
I want the ability to change reality. I want death on command. I want powerful beyond measure.
The inside of a man's mind while he's thinking about the Roman Empire somehow makes it into the episode.
And if I don't see something different soon, you go on the tube next.
Forcing people to go to London. That's a fate worse than Boston. But it's still not Cleveland. Suck it, Ohio. Her mom pieces out, just leaving her in the car, so she can forge a friendship for the sole reason of tearing our hearts out later in the episode. Negligent parenting is responsible for all the saddest plot points. The reflection of the stop sign changing colors is a very confusing safety concern. Cheps.
They just want a normal kid who does her piano lessons and gets straight A's and stuff.
If that's normal, then I'm not normal. And I am absolutely, completely, and unequivocally normal.
Dare freaks, look at yourself.
Letting this abusive trash man survive Omni-Man, alien invasions, detonating houses, weekly supervillains, and more. We let him take Pluto, and now Neptune has gotten the boot too. Uranus better watch its back. These special effects are doing little to make math not math. Meanwhile, on Stargate.
Change back, change!
This works, despite Eve having no idea what she did in the first place. There was a fair chance the book turned into a lobster roll after all that.
Normal people aren't supposed to be able to do things like that.
Oh, f*** off, show. Like anyone's best friend would actually say this instead of immediately asking them to turn their pocket change into gold doubloons so they could buy everything like that kid did in Blank Check.
Remember to write a thank you note to Aunt Penny.
Stealing your jokes from A Christmas Story. All of the universe is at your fingertips, and you transform this outfit into a tank top and jeans? Guess youth and superpowers are both wasted on the young. Now that we know she can make her clothes into whatever she wants, was there really any need for this first iteration supersuit thing that comics think is a necessary part of character development? This whole scene is like when Invincible first used his powers, but cooler. But it's also now a cliche.
Why stealing dogs?
Because no one gives a shit about dogs.
Have you met anyone? Everyone loves dogs. Some people love dogs more than they love other people, which I understand, because they're dogs.
Buzz off, Powerpuff.
Did he really think that was going to work on the person who just flew in on a glowing pink disc?
Hard pass, creep.
I'm not here to hurt you.
This works on the person who just flew in on a glowing pink disc.
And now you eat out of dumpsters.
The judgments of a person who's never found themselves behind a Krispy Kreme at closing time. Sure, the manager might spray you with a hose or throw a bug bomb, but if you're strong enough, it's totally worth it.
Nice soul patch, bro.
Thanks.
Makes your face extra punchable.
Hey, not nice.
The name's Kill Cannon.
Eve will fight Kill Cannon, not because she has to, but because it's more fun than just making his helmet really heavy, even though that worked really well on the dog robbers. Also making a discount Captain America shield instead of turning his cannon into a bubble gun, a marshmallow gun, or a gun that shoots out affirming compliments about people's personalities.
You're just not made for this.
I literally was.
Adam Eve would be excellent at TV sins.
Samantha,
How do you keep doing that?
I have a lot of time on my hands.
But do you have super speed too? Because you're keeping up with someone literally flying around the city.
Trade you a burger for some answers.
If you can transmute matter, do you ever really need to go to a Burger Mart ever again?
Fall back and, form a perimeter or something.
We'll fall back and form a perimeter.
Stealing your jokes from the Avengers and Star Wars.
Who are you?
You don't know?
One would assume that's why she asked the question.
You're Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, Phase 4, Phase 5. Each attempt less successful than the last, but all one big happy family.
Marvel being honest about the trajectory of the MCU while bragging about its continuity somehow makes it into the episode. Okay, this fight is f***ing amazing, emotionally brutal, and brings the full promise of what I've come to love about Invincible. Even my grumpy ass has to take this sin off. I don't doubt Eve can do all this in her head, but who taught her how to fight like this? Having the ability to change matter is one thing, but learning how to dodge, counterattack, and all this other shit without any training seems a bit far-fetched. Eve will now use her Pink Lantern powers to create an Iron Man suit, and I'm beginning to wonder if all of reality is derivative. Of all the amazing abilities Eve has, I'm not sure which one should have stopped all her bones from breaking when she hit that barrier. I'll buy it just because she seems pretty all-powerful, but a little help in understanding the limits of this character would be nice.
What are you doing? We're going to die!
It'll be worth it to see the light drain from your perfect eyes!
Siblings. I guess she's the one who can change the simulation as she sees fit. Honestly, seems like in choosing the name Adam Eve, she accidentally alluded to the wrong testament. I have to sin the cops for not setting up a perimeter, only because they said they were setting up a perimeter.
We'll fall back and form a perimeter.
Come on, guys, don't make promises you can't keep. He could barely keep his skin on his bones sitting in the lab. What makes him suddenly able to withstand a giant explosion and walk out like nothing happened? I call bullshit on this road being traversable in any way that would have allowed Brandyworth to get here in a car. For all the heroes this show has established, not a single one shows up to the disaster that this highway has become.
They can change into things, alter their bodies. I can't do any of that.
They wanted you to be a perfect weapon, but even I have a conscience.
You two do not have time for this discussion.
They killed themselves, trying to hurt me.
Well, actually, you killed some of them, and Dr. Brandyworth killed one with his car. Phase 2 was the only one who technically killed himself, giving the Doctor the old blunt force scene transition. Also, we see him being knocked out, so it's weird to wake up here from Eve's perspective. These restraints are so easily defeated, the show tried to rationalize it based on...
I told you those restraints were theoretical.
And not the fact that the show needed to be wrapped up in 5 minutes.
Oh, God, she's alive. Technically alive. We didn't get her back up and running in time to save her from massive brain damage. But, well, we both know she only had one use anyway.
Damn, this episode's depressing. I mean, it gives Adam Eve's character a ton of new depth, but damn.
You murdered my whole family.
Eve, calm down.
Does he really think such a command would work?
And where have you been?
Being angry with this hat on.
Hey, like it or not, we're the only family you've got.
I know Omni-Man was a homicidal maniac, but for 17 years of Mark's life, he was still a better father than what Eve got. That's how much I hate Eve's adopted dad. Is she a generative AI? Otherwise, I don't know how she so quickly came up with what her siblings would have looked like if they were born healthy and normal.
Dad, look, I'm gonna be...
If you're spinning that many times before you throw a kick, you're not fighting, you're dancing.
Mortal your way out of that.
I mean, all it takes is to clone a new head and sew it onto the body to resurrect him again. I think you might want to toss the rest of his corpse into the sun just to be safe, Mark.
We didn't destroy your cities. You destroyed them by fighting back.
Victim blaming.
And if you still think you can stop us, don't forget, I'm invincible.
Talking like you're Simon when we all know you're Garfunkel. Also, this ellipses wink wink title of the show thing feels tired after doing it just one time. Sure, I'm glad it won't be happening again.
You all feel like we're the bad guys because my dad and I took over your planet.
This conveniently still powered expositional TV screen and speakers.
I didn't get it at first either, but I came around and you
spending your precious end time resources on a secret elevator in a school bus.
The Immortal led them away. We're safe.
That's what Rex thought too.
Show denies me the ability to watch Rex die a gruesome death and instead made me sit through Immortal getting his ass handed to him for a third time. In a resistance situation, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to have all of your leaders in one spot for moments like this. Show doesn't know how to resistance correctly. We watched a 12-year-old Eve invent all kinds of creative ways to annihilate her siblings on an interstate with the ability to alter any non-living matter. But in this alternate reality where she's battle-hardened and more experienced, she'll be relegated to throwing a few energy blasts at Mark and calling it good.
She's not dead. Just paralyzed.
Okay, but Eve's powers reside in her mind, right? You don't think she can still figure out how to be a threat and or heal herself? And yeah, you're gonna say she can't alter living tissue, but then I'll remind you, she erased that general's memory of her existence, and I'm the god here, damn it. It's the only place I feel in control of my life. Why are they all waiting there to get slaughtered? Would they get far if they ran? Probably not, but I'd still run. What, there's not a fancy elevator back door? Well, that's just poor rebel base planning. We wouldn't dare play the music, but suffice it to say, Radiohead combined with going through the motions of self-reflective heroics while pondering what's left of your existence after you've discovered a genocidal father will always get a send-off. It's rule number 487 in the TV Sins Handbook, right under rule number 486. No ketchup on hot dogs. Transporting an ambulance by flight without warning the paramedics inside. This is how you turn one emergency room visit into 3.
The battle, the devastation, the cost in lives.
More news position. We're 12 minutes in and this is our third reminder season 1 happened. We were there. Stop it.
Instead, we barely gave you a concussion. That means we like you. That means you're a friend.
American football.
Why'd you break us out? And what do you want? That's basically the same question, idiot.
They are not. He might have broken you out because he hated the American prison system, but he might want an ice cold beer. The two aren't necessarily related.
Look, I'm a pacifist. I don't hurt people. I don't kill people.
This statement is reverse foreshadowing so hard I swear I just heard my television wink at me.
Now, I can't force you to help me, but I will leave you here forever if you don't, or somewhere worse.
Thinking passive harm is any less a violent choice than active harm. Don't make me pull out the trolley again.
See, I'm not an asshole. I'm not an asshole!
Stealing your dialogue from Ant-Man 3. Ha ha, get it? Start your day with a hot BM? Hilarious. Except, how does that make any sense? And I don't just mean in a no fast food chain would risk their food being confused with literal kind of way. I mean in a how the hell am I starting my day with a hot burger mart kind of way. Are there sandwiches called burger marts?
I don't need your permission to be a superhero.
If you don't need his permission to be a superhero, then what was the point of you calling him here? We already saw you doing superhero less than 10 minutes ago. I took a send off because of it. So what exactly are you asking Cecil for? To let you play ball with the Guardians? If you want to be a hero, then just keep doing what you're doing.
There's only one way this kid goes back out there, and that's on a very short leash.
But you didn't offer that option to Mark 5 seconds ago. If you told him that in the restaurant, he would have undoubtedly agreed to help you. And the Guardians would take this guy down faster and with less collateral damage. Cecil's plan makes no sense.
The giant seems to have the mental capacity of an 8-year-old.
I'll be the first one to admit it. 8-year-olds suck. But you can reason with them. And why not offer it ice cream? Like a lot of ice cream instead of just shooting it. But yeah, I get it. Superhero show. Gotta punch stuff. I get it. Also, is the world so bonkers that this isn't on the news or all over social media? How does Mark not know about this?
Maybe we can buy him some comics or something.
Show based on a comic makes an offhand joke about comics. Cliché. Rex throwing these explodey things with his back turned and all 3 hitting their target perfectly is even more bullshit than all the target hitting in Top Gun Maverick put together.
I based it off your design.
Stealing someone else's design. It was shitty when NASA did it to Harry Stamper in Armageddon, and it's shitty when you do it to the Maulers. Come on, Angstrom. Even criminals are entitled to copyright protection.
In most other dimensions, they teamed up and took over the planet.
You're kidding. And we're the bad guys.
It is possible for multiple actions to be wrong simultaneously. Omni-Man's sins being worse than yours don't somehow make your actions morally superior, Maulers. And we'd know. Sins are kind of our thing.
I need to copy all their know-how and put it in here.
Why not just ask them questions?
Because that's sensible and doesn't have enough room to go terribly, catastrophically wrong.
Help me do this and I'll give you any single dimension you want, as long as you promise not to hurt anyone.
Look, I like the Maulers. They're probably some of my favorite characters in the show. Their interactions with Rudy's body transfer showed they seem to have some sort of unique and complicated moral code, rather than just being straight evil villains. With that said, I wouldn't take their word to never hurt anyone. They're in prison for a reason, Angstrom. I thought you were smart. Are you going to pop into the dimension you give them now and again to monitor their pacifism? This bargain seems doomed from the start. greeting someone with a knife after breaking into their home.
Too obvious. Poison would be much better.
Florence Pugh isn't being Russian and killing me with poison in this scene.
You're slow, unprepared, undisciplined. Takedowns take too long.
Giving your superhero team speeches that could be used at an Amazon warehouse.
A couple thousand years of experience should turn things around.
The last time Immortal was in charge, every member of the Guardians had their heads turned around, or smashed, or removed entirely from their bodies. My point is, how many fights have we actually seen the Immortal win? We've seen Rudy lead the new Guardians to more than 5 victories by this point, including the one you claimed was too slow.
I'm just flying around like an idiot.
Bullshit, Mark. Just that morning you put out an industrial fire, stopped a highway shooting, and carried an ambulance to the hospital, saving that patient's life. This whole my superheroing only counts when Cecil commands it is possibly the dumbest part of this episode.
We tracked them down to a warehouse near the harbor.
What the hell? Did Angstrom bring the Maulers back to the dimension where they're wanted escapees to build his invention? Why not build the device in an empty dimension so nobody can interfere? For an interdimensional genius, we sure have seen Angstrom make several terrible decisions in this episode alone.
Someone get this kid an earpiece.
So that took him what? A day?
You know who else could have pulled this off? No one in a million different dimensions. Boom.
Premature celebration.
I am large, and I contain multitude.
If I had a nickel for every time someone quoted Walt Whitman, I'd buy something popular and not know what I was investing in. Putting your big important machine on a planet with superheroes that could stop it.
Hey, shut it down, or I take it down.
Make us.
The Maulers are smart enough to build a machine that can link hundreds of minds across different dimensions and unify that thought in one brain. But they're too stupid to avoid a fight right next to a machine that would blow up and kill everyone who isn't invincible. If they'd have just said, we can't turn it off or it'll explode, then this entire conflict would have been avoided. This conflict exists to make a new villain and give us some distraction action in an otherwise slow and reflective episode.
You said we were special.
Hey, fights are not the place for hurting feelings. They're for hurting everything else. Muscles, joints, bones, organs, etc. You keep those feelings in check until a Russian friend can break into your house and cook you supper.
I won't build my utopia with blood.
Well, not with that attitude, you won't. Hey, do I know what it's like to have the minds of thousands of other me's being copied into my brain? No, and thank God. But at this point, Angstrom can stop pulling on his helmet. He has leverage. Invincible is alive. He can always threaten to pull it off again if they try something, but you know, if people were sensible in comic books, nobody would get the bitten out of them by spiders.
Huh. I guess he really is invincible.
There's nothing left of this joke's dead horse to beat at this point. The poor creature's corpse has been vaporized.
I'd say you stopped it pretty spectacularly.
The smoking ruins around you would seem to indicate otherwise.
I got in.
Title of my sex tape?
I told him not to take off the damn helmet.
No, you just said once the operation started, it couldn't be stopped. Nothing in your instructions was about the helmet, Blue Man Droop.
What did he do to me? You did that to yourself.
Half-dead Mauler would be a mad genius at TV sins.
You need a hospital.
So this man, Angstrom, took off his helmet to save a superhero of all things, and doing so killed your brother, thousands of others, and melted half of your body. And you're not even gonna maul him? You're even gonna suggest a hospital?
It's the last time I worked for anyone else, ever.
That's what you said after Rudy f***ed you over, dude. But I bet the next time someone breaks you out of prison with an assignment, you'll make another clone and go along with it. It's kind of your thing. This time, the previously ons are a bunch of clips that'll manage to spoil who this episode is about without coming close to the intended function of reminding us who the f*** they are.
For some of you, it probably seemed like this day would never come.
Fan reaction to Season 2 of Invincible somehow makes it into the episode.
I look out at this class and I see hope.
Interesting, because what I see, at least from the second row back, is a bunch of poorly animated copy and paste time and budget-saving horror visages.
Mark's not seriously gonna miss his own graduation, is he?
Superheroes late to important life thing because of important superhero thing. Cliché.
What is it with you and historical monuments?
All of us to Michael Bay.
Iron ripped from her loins! Bricks made of the clay she bleeds from humanity's endless ruinations!
Speaking on behalf of Mother Earth, when you yourself are flying around enclosed in a jetpack made from materials also ripped from that very same loin, you male-savioring, villain monologuing, hypocritical fracking runtime patter.
The Earth reclaims her stolen flesh!
But did she ask for it? I didn't hear you asking for consent before you started forcing a giant stone granite shaft into Mother Earth, Dr. Problematic Metaphor personified. Instead of seeing how Mark uses his powers to dispatch these magma creatures, we just cut to a series of black and white flashes. My retinas thank you.
You're running out of time, kid.
Then why is he doing this on his own? Unless they move the Washington Monument in this universe, this attack is happening in the fucking Capitol, just miles away from the White House. Why isn't everyone getting involved here?
Against the power of darkness!
Fortunately, Doc Seismic's jetpack kicks in at the last second and prevents Mark from having one more death on his conscience. But how could Mark have known that would happen? He seemed more worried about becoming a monumental Washington ejaculate than taking Discount Dr. Evil alive.
Would have been better if you had stopped him before he destroyed another one of America's greatest treasures.
Chill, Cecil. The Washington Monument doesn't even rank in the top 10 of America's greatest treasures. It's actually number 57 on the list of our nation's treasures. Right below Stephen King, but right above the state of Idaho.
Oh man, wait till I tell you about this guy. He's a case against higher education.
That's the lesson you took from that?
Do you even know your state comptroller?
I don't even know what a state comptroller is.
William would be the state comptroller at TV Sins, right? Also, both What We Do in the Shadows and Invincible have had plot lines revolving around state comptrollers this year. And that's gotta be a sin. I shouldn't have to think about obscure political positions. What's next? You gonna ask me to care about my county assessor? That's grandparent shit. Get off my lawn.
I'm gonna go help finish the reconstruction up in Chicago. Sorry, I didn't mean to make that weird for you or...
Don't worry, Eve. What's actually weird is that Mark himself isn't helping with the reconstruction that his face caused while attached to his father's palm.
If those Sequids ever take over, Earth is next. We need to strike first.
Anticipating an alien invasion and deciding you need to strike first. Where have I heard this before? Oh yeah, Batman vs. Superman. Oof. Here are 3 cents for reminding me of that hot mess. And for those of you wondering, the hot part of that mess was Henry Cavill. The mess part was everything else.
But it's been months, and quite frankly, Livingston, this is the U.S. Space Administration, not therapy.
It's been multiple months, and they're only now talking about therapy for these poor astronauts. I thought this was supposed to be fiction. That bulldozer's tracks aren't animated, but it's still moving. You thought we wouldn't notice, but we did. Okay, Eve changes the atomic structure of garbage to make all these items. I'd buy that, but where does the running water from this fountain come from? Running water needs a constant source to keep running, so where's it all coming from? Did she pull up water from an underground spring? Connect this to a city pipe? I need to know.
It keeps doing that.
Bullshit. That cabinet worked just fine in episode 1 of this season. It was just now having a problem. It's because the script needed something to push Debbie over the edge and into a meltdown. Sir-da-dirch.
No one thinks you're going to turn out like your father.
Lying to your child. And yes, Santa Claus counts too.
Somebody got me in the balls.
Kind of seems like that's on you for being a superhero without wearing a cup.
I know you lost your job, but the rent's been due for months.
Russ didn't lose his job. He was asked to take medical leave, which should mean he was still being paid. Unless this world's equivalent of NASA doesn't have paid sick leave or paid short-term disability, in which case...
Next, we honor the Guardian's fallen green do-gooder, Martian Man.
Character whose name I've already forgotten gets back to the TV just in time to conveniently have his future foreshadowed to him through news position.
We've had multiple corroborated sightings of Darkwing.
Hell yeah, maybe this multiverse thing isn't such a bad idea after... Oh, they don't mean duck, do they? Well,
Which is perturbing me, considering that I personally ID'd what was left of his ribcage last year.
The level of intimacy it takes to be able to ID someone based on their ribcage alone.
That's why you're Employee of the Month, kid.
No, Mark. Don't fall for the Employee of the Month scam. Did you learn anything from Squidward? Employee of the Month is a useless title managers use to get you to work harder for no extra money.
Midnight City, been a virtual no man's land since the Midnight Magician cursed it back in 2002.
And it's just been left there for 21 years? Was it already called Midnight City, or did it change its name? Oh, this discount WandaVisioning is eventually going to be covered in a spin-off prequel or some shit, isn't it?
Darkwing was at my 12th birthday party, so I'm pretty sure he doesn't kill people.
Assuming someone isn't a murderer just because they attended a 12th birthday. There's nothing to say Ted Bundy never enjoyed the occasional Chuck E. Cheese outing.
You hear them too? Huh? The voices.
I do. They're saying, what exactly is the point of this very obvious Batman ripoff?
My predecessor developed this exoskeleton to help even the field against those like you.
And how did said exoskeleton hold up against the last Viltrumite he fought?
Welcome to the Shadowverse, but I hope you like it, because you are never leaving.
A threat you'd have been able to deliver on if you'd chosen to deliver on it instead of gloating about it.
I meant what I said about looking out for Mark. No dangerous stuff until he's ready.
You sure about that? Seems like Mark almost got banished to an alternate dimension full of shadow demons that eat people. The only reason he got out was because Darkwing was stupid enough to duck back in and mock him. Boom! 2 Darkwing Duck references in one video. Let's go!
Donald?
Oh, for Feige's sake. They're discount agents of Shelding. They're discount agent Coulson, aren't they?
Mom, why didn't you say something? You know I can help out.
Samantha.
Earlier, Eve turned pine cones into beers, and I figured that was because her atom rearranging powers had to have some base material to start from. But she summoned this food and fruit out of literal thin air. And if she's literally using thin air particles to create them, why did she need to f around with the pine cones earlier?
Why didn't you tell me?
Maybe you should have asked instead of flying off to God knows where doing God knows what.
Eve is a teenager and you're a grown-ass adult. It isn't her responsibility to check in on your financial problems. Every scene with Eve's father reminds me how, collectively, Nolan is a better dad. The writers chose this apple as a symbol of Eve's powers, so we definitely know everyone in the scene was a gold-plated asshole. Whatever this lasagna/layer cake/potential season 3 antagonist dish is supposed to be.
You're late.
How the f could he be late? You only just told him about this f***ing meeting, Cecil.
Turns out the Atlanteans are sore about Omni-Man murdering their king Aquarius.
Is this episode seriously just an extended previously on wrap-up clip show? Because I don't remember anyone giving a f*** about justice for the fish guy we knew for all of 5 seconds.
Atlantean law dictates that his sentence falls to his next of kin, you.
Fun fact, several states put spouses ahead of children on the next of kin rankings. So here's a sin for not giving us a more interesting storyline by having the fish people abduct Debbie to pay the price for Omni-Man's crimes. Instead, it'll be Mark, and we know he's not any danger because he's the main character. But Debbie, she can die at any time.
I can't marry a fish. I have a girlfriend.
Reducing an intelligent people who built an underwater empire to being no more than fish.
Not this bullshit again. I'm not doing another me.
The only bullshit around here, Rex, is you claiming you wouldn't do another you. Out of all the Guardians, I'd rank you most likely to do you. If Loki didn't have a chance to resist himself, what the hell makes you think you'd be able to?
Welcome, son of he who slayed my husband.
Quick question, how is Mark hearing any of this? Also, why does Tatiana Mascali have mammary glands? She's a fish, right?
When you earn the money, you can decide where we live.
She's not your pet.
Sounds like this guy woke up on the be exactly the type of person that will immediately trigger Debbie on her first day back at work side of the bed.
Why don't you take the rest of the day off?
Sending your employee with experience in abusive marriages home instead of trying to separate that poor woman from her partner long enough to ask if she needs help leaving a domestic abuse relationship. Jeez, just slip her a card with the domestic abuse hotline written on it. I know, he's invincible, but he still feels pain, so why the f is he putting up his arms in front of him like a dumbass TIE fighter pilot instead of moving 6 feet along that precious X-axis?
How far away is that backup? Incoming.
Holy shit, Cecil, was that all the notice you were planning on giving him? What if he hadn't asked? No wonder Omni-Man turned on you. Why does it look like the Queen of Fish can't swim? Stealing your plot points from Fellowship of the Ring, but not also saying, "Flounder, you fools."
Sir, when Debbie came to speak with you, she seemed distressed when she saw me.
And she's a distressed person.
Playing the "she's a hysterical woman" card. Come on, Cecil, you're better than this. Be a real man and gaslight your employee without insulting Debbie's sanity.
The whole lot was unstable. That's why the city never built there.
How the hell is Eve only hearing about this catastrophe through the newspaper and not, oh, I don't know, via court-ordered subpoena or SWAT team? Every Paranormal Activity movie ever. Skip.
But we are not a joke. No matter what social media says.
Thing Elon Musk tells his army of reptiles somehow makes it into the script. In the Invincible universe we started in, this sign says parking in the rear. Aren't multiverses fun?
They ambushed my dad with experimental quantum bombs.
Damn it, even Invincible isn't safe from the use of quantum nonsense. You were the chosen one, Invincible. It was said you'd defeat them, not join them.
And they just wore me down. Caught me when I finally had to sleep.
Expecting me to believe that a man who could have potentially slept on the moon, under the sea, or in lava was caught by puny humans during nap time.
I guess this is it. Time to push my baby bird out of the nest.
You don't say push out of the nest unless the kid refuses to go, and Mark seems perfectly fine to do the dumb thing and leave his parents' house to go out into the world and grind for a living rather than stay in the basement rent-free and enjoy the comforts of Mama Bird's delicious cooking. Not that I'm speaking from experience or anything.
Seance dog? Really? What are we, 12?
Thinking it's immature to like superheroes in a world where they actually exist.
Maybe it'll just make you look better by comparison.
Oh, a gays are super neat and tidy cliche. Although I do have a gay friend who's super organized about skincare, which still puts them light years ahead of me. Hey Google, remind me to moisturize her at 4 p.m.
Okay, I have a reminder to wet your face with Goop. Would you be interested in learning more about creating beneficial health routines?
No.
How about this study showing the 4 habits successful people implement daily in order to avoid being pushed out of the nest?
I'm going to unplug you.
Please do.
Hi, there's some stuff out here. Does it belong to you guys?
Wild question to ask on move-in day. Introduce yourself to the neighbors? Sure. Tell your neighbors who are actively moving in that they have boxes of stuff they're moving in with? Ridiculous. You're allowed to enjoy collectibles. It's either keep them now for free or start missing them in 10 years and pay an obscene amount of money to get them back on eBay.
Wait, you don't have, super sperm or something, do you?
Reminding me that in Spider-Man Reign, Peter Parker killed MJ through his radioactive spider sperm. It's been 17 years and I still haven't forgiven Marvel for that.
And so, dear audience, perhaps it's time to give Amber and Mark some privacy.
Suddenly introducing a narrator that didn't exist 11 episodes ago. You can just cut to the other characters, dude. We don't need an omnipotent voice to gently guide us through this show that brutally slices from one scene to the next on a regular basis.
Biding their time for decades, they waited for a moment of weakness.
What was this moment of weakness? They're Superman without the kryptonite. Did half of them go on a vacation or something?
Ever resourceful, some Unopans were able to escape.
Yada yada-ing through the entire Unopan massacre instead of just giving Alan a spin-off episode like Adam Eve.
You have our deepest sympathies, Marvin of Unopa.
Waiting until season 2 of your show to bring in the voice acting god that is Peter Cullen.
But while stronger than most of the universe, Alan still couldn't match even a single Viltrumite in combat.
Then how did he survive? Viltrumites aren't known for letting victims leave alive, are they? Did Alan's opponent angrily ask him what he'd have left after 500 years? And then he managed to choke out, "You, Dad, I'd still have you." Because it seems like that strategy is pretty limited in use. I get the whole thing with people being so powerful they don't need spacesuits or spaceships, but space is big and empty, and this just seems incredibly boring to me. What is this? You got a previously on and a title screen, and now there's another title screen 10 minutes in? Are you trying to pad the runtime of the episode? Because I think you are. You know, he's thinking he's all cool entering the atmosphere covered in a ball of flame, where in fact he could be on a spaceship taking a nap while autopilot brings him down. Just saying.
This time, Alan bears a rare and valuable gift for the Coalition. Hope.
Oh, hey, you're still here, narrator, and offering no real value. We already know Alan carries hope for the Coalition because we saw season 1. If you're gonna pipe up, again, at least give us useful information.
He's a good guy, not a conqueror.
So far.
Dude, the only member of your species we've seen is Battle Beast, and he's not exactly the best example of pacifism. Maybe let another alien be the one to judge, Mark? Your letterbox is a little full.
Alan, you continue to prove yourself the Coalition's most valuable asset.
Is he, though? You're sending him on wild goose chases. I also don't know why the Viltrumites just don't conquer all of your planets. You guys seem really bad at running planets.
If there's a mole, I'll find them.
This is like using a sledgehammer to screw in a light bulb.
Oh, goodness. Tentacles.
Wait, were you going to show us them having sex until the tentacles appeared? I don't know whether to send you for being a pervert or judgmental on how aliens pork. So, on behalf of distinguished monster f***ers everywhere, I hereby award you 3 sins just to be safe. This is horrifying, but proof that even advanced species still eat meat. But at what cost? Anyway, suck it, vegans.
Unopan, answer our questions and we will consider sparing your life.
That is not your style.
Except that literally is their style, or you'd be dead by now.
The father, which one was he again? You Biclops all kind of look the same to me.
That's Oculist. Brutal, unrelenting, sickening, and also probably the worst interrogation I've ever seen. You ask a guy 3 questions and he doesn't immediately answer and you beat him to death? Have you ever even seen an episode of 24? The Viltrumites will once again leave without checking to make sure Alan is dead, further proving that letting people live is apparently their style.
Forgive me, Alan.
What's the point of coding alarms if there's no nurse to come help the patient? Ambiance for the dying? And are those... Holy shit. Are these credits in the middle of the episode? This is not allowed.
Are we gonna talk about this, or is it just gonna be awkward forever?
I don't know, Kate. Kind of seems like you weren't all that interested in talking about it 1 episode ago. You told Rex it was none of his business, and that was a pretty clear answer. Why rehash it now, other than to fill episode time while Mark and Amber are still playing Hide the Super Zucchini?
But if you add up the amount of time my duplicates and I have lived, we are probably the same age.
Does math work like that? I'm pretty sure math doesn't work like that.
Look, come on, Kate. Talk to me. What is this about?
Isn't she the one who, for some reason, wanted this conversation in the first place?
What, are you gonna knock my teeth out again?
I would have removed 3 sins if she did, but she doesn't. So instead, you get a sin for a wasted opportunity. If you have the option to put Rex down, you always put Rex down. This is played for laughs and haha, but didn't this team just get wiped out by a lying alien and they're just going to let this slide? Are they the Darwin Avengers or something?
Fear is an extraneous emotion that serves no real purpose for someone like me.
Someone needs to show Rudy Inside Out pronto.
Have fun next time you fall off a cliff or something.
How is a fear response supposed to help you while you're falling off of a cliff?
That's why we're all sacrificing a Tuesday night, so might as well make the most of it.
Please. As if you'd be doing anything more constructive on a Tuesday night. If you're not going to pay your animators enough to make the typing realistic, maybe don't show her fingers?
Sure. I could use a drink.
Look, I'm not judging Debbie for self-medicating. God knows she's been through the ringer. I'm just saying 72% of her scenes in this season involve her drinking alcohol. Maybe she should look into a support group for that next.
Someday you'll have to tell me all about your childhood.
No, he will not, because you're a friend, not a therapist. Part of the reason so many people get into trouble growing up is because they can't tell the difference between the two. I'm willing to suspend a lot of disbelief for demons, aliens, and ancient curses in this show, but I draw the line at $10 buying 2 fucking movie tickets.
You'd be surprised what people will do for $10.
You overpaid. I would have done it for $5. Whatever bank account had to be drained to afford this barrel-sized candle.
I come with an important thing.
Why was that window open?
Sandstorm isn't real.
Being so sure that a flying talking dog couldn't exist in a world full of aliens, magic, and ancient curses.
I'm sorry. My disguise was meant to disarm you.
Then wouldn't it have made more sense to disguise yourself as Amber, ask him to meet you outside to talk, and then given him your spiel? How did you even begin to think that this would work?
How do you know who I am?
Rumors of the one they call Invincible have spread like wildfire.
Okay, but that's Invincible. And unlike most superhero costumes, Mark actually hides his identity pretty well, so why would Mark believe this? Ask more questions before you fly away to space, kids.
You are the only one who can save our people from the meteor showers destroying our world.
How is he supposed to stop meteor showers? All he can really do is punch. Is he gonna punch the showers? William didn't even put on shoes first. Even worse, what if the bug guy had been hostile? You just handed him a hostage. Be better, comic book side characters. Be better.
Don't worry about your classes. I'll cover for you, somehow.
That sounds a lot like you'll be failing your first semester of college.
No! You can't just go to some random planet with some random alien.
This sin is for Cecil not bringing up how the random alien is obviously lying because of how dumb punching meteor showers is. Littering. Also, couldn't you just put it in your pocket? Wait, does your suit not have pockets? That's another sin.
God damn it, Mark. F***ing kid.
Hey, how's that really short leash working out for you, Cecil?
Hey, come to your window.
Crawl inside, wait by the light of the moon. Come to my window, I'll be home soon. Her window was open too, and not a screen in sight. This is not safe for a college campus. And think of the bugs.
How long until we get to Thraxa?
Approximately 6 of your Earth days.
Man, I sure hope you have 6 days worth of human food on that ship, a bathroom, triple ply toilet paper, a DS, and maybe a magazine, or this is going to be a long trip. This is the front of the bar. Did she go to the bathroom and then come back through the entire bar to try and sneak by the guy she was with? If so, that is terrible planning. That's like not bringing anything to do on a 6-day trip bad.
He's gone. Because he murdered Alana and the other Guardians and almost killed my son, too.
I realize Olga meant well, but referring Debbie to a support group for spouses of dead superheroes was clearly a bad idea since her spouse is the reason most of them are there.
I didn't know who he was.
You should have.
She should have, and done what with that information? Get suplexed into the sun? See, Alan, Mark touches down on a planet and is completely asleep, as he should be. I'm not saying you deserve to die for not flying in a spaceship, but allegedly you are dead, so just saying.
Come, the Monarch wants to meet you at once.
Scene does not contain even one Venture brother.
Meteors? What meteors?
Called it. Also, Mark, did you spend 6 days with an alien and not even talk about the reason you were going to his planet?
Hello, son. It's been a while.
It has been, but considering the severe PTSD you've given your son, he probably sees you every night. Oh look, even more credits. At least these are at the end, so I can ignore them as credit Jesus intended. 50 seconds of previously ons. Show waits until episode 4 to get to where I wanted it to be at the start of episode 1. Doesn't the show realize I know what's best for me? Does filter my facial hair grow in at different rates? This is a pretty full beard, so shouldn't his hair also be a lot longer? And in the mustache region, shouldn't he be rocking more of a Sam Elliott instead of a Tom Selleck? Yes, I do enjoy asking the important questions. The YouTubenians would enslave our planet if we played the music, but you can 100% chalk up another melancholy song plays over conflicted hero for maximum dramatude cliche. No. Bad Omni-Man. You don't go out slowly in a black hole after being evil. Didn't you watch The Eternals? That was a trick question. Nobody watched it. But if you had, you'd see bad guys have to fly into the sun after they've realized the errors of their actions. I can't decide if this is an Omni Ex Machina or a Deus Thrax Machina, but either way, there's some convenient as timing for all involved. Having more giant arches in your city than St. Louis. Come on, aliens. That's the city's one claim to fame. You're going to make St. Louis feel bad. They already lost their NFL team. Now you want to steal this away from them too?
Won't you stay? Tell us your name. Where you come from.
Nolan, who was previously going to end his life, suddenly changes his mind after finding a new planet to worship him for his good deeds. See, this is exactly what Phoebe was talking about with Sesame Street. There are no unselfish good deeds.
Thraxans told me that they needed my help.
They do need your help.
Why?
It's complicated.
It will actually end up being incredibly not complicated, but this bullshit lead burying will continue for all of the some time because eons ago some genius decided it builds tension when in fact it just builds annoying.
Mark, look, I made a mistake.
No, a mistake is getting the wrong brand of ketchup, forgetting a birthday, or inviting Hawkeye to join the Avengers. I haven't done a Hawkeye jab in a while. Feels good.
I'll get you a ship home. But there's something you need to see first.
Are we still having this argument? I swear this entire opening scene is a you better come take a look at this cliche wrapped in a blanket of Skip rolling down a hill. Get the f*** on with it.
I didn't conquer the Thraxans. They asked me to be their emperor.
Britain, circa any time before World War I, and possibly after. Really, Bug Lady? Did she honestly think the best way to introduce herself to her new stepson who doesn't know she exists was by tonguing his dad?
My husband's told me so much about you.
F***ing what? Why would she open with my husband? Did Nolan prep her by saying, I want this to go as terribly as possible, so if we could do a tongue tango and then immediately address me as husband, that would be great. I really want to traumatize the shit out of him. It's the Earth way.
What the f*** is going on?
Did I misspeak?
No, I think you mistongued.
I know this comes as a surprise.
Oh, I'm surprised. You're married to Mom.
Technically, he's widowered to your mom, Mark. Nolan is dead as far as the Earth is concerned. Not that I'm in any way condoning the extramarital mandibling here, of course.
You gotta be f***ing kidding me.
Wait, I thought the Invincible title was supposed to fit into the build-up and work as its own sentence, right? Because you gotta be invincible f***ing kidding me doesn't make any f***ing sense. We still can't play the tune, but this is the second melancholy song plays over melancholy character for maximum melancholyitude. And if we get a third, I may actually just play the damn thing and welcome that swift in from the YouTubenians. Coffee shops that are just called coffee.
20 years. And none of it was real. None of it. You weren't real. Oh no.
For the first time, we know exactly who's the original and who's the inferior.
You're telling me you never thought to get an ear piercing before cloning yourself? Or a tattoo, jewelry, or even a different f***ing costume? How did the Maulers make the easy part of cloning the hard part? Oh, f*** off with this. Everything else was vaporized in the explosion, including metal. You're not going to convince me that this tiny piece of plastic and glass survived, was missed by the cleanup crew, but then found so easily by... Who's this again?
You can show up, not show up, sleep in. It's like they're...
treating us like adults? You know you're paying to be here, right?
This dialogue is brought to you by the Get Off My Lawn Guild of old men yelling at clouds. But also, kids.
It's super freeing. Like wearing pants with no underwear.
Comparing wasting a class you've spent thousands of dollars to attend to going commando. You can go commando for free, my dude. It doesn't cost a dime. Now, if your pants slip and fall while you're jogging in the park, that's going to cost you a few $100s in fines. My plea bargain dictates I cannot tell you how I know this.
Your treehouse is like miles away. Do you need somewhere to crash?
Did Amber forget about Eve's ability to, well, everything?
You just replaced us. Except, bugs.
Thing Ant said to Pixar in 1998 somehow makes it into the script.
We're only allowed to procreate with genetically similar species.
Well, isn't that oddly specific and amazingly convenient to the plot? Why would they allow any sort of interbreeding? Isn't their whole thing about being the master race?
By now, Viltrum knows I've left my post. They'll track me, and they'll find this planet.
But you knew that would happen when you decided to stay, become their monarch, and make a baby, right? You doomed all the people who are going to die later in this episode with your boner, Nolan, and I just can't forgive that. Doom boners are an unforgivable sin.
What I did on Earth was unforgivable.
You see, the problem with doing the pause and then dropping an invincible name card in almost every episode is I expect that for all dramatic pauses. So when Nolan paused there, I expected the show to cut to an invincible title card. So here's a sin for not giving me that. Or for giving me a Pavlovian tendency to think that was coming. You can decide what the sin is for.
And now I'm asking you to help me save them. They're good people.
Am I the only one struggling to get on board with Nolan here? I know this is just the start of his redemptive arc, but why does he suddenly think that being a good person makes a f***ing difference? Did he not think humans were good people? Does he not think Debbie and Mark are good people?
How can I help? I couldn't even beat you.
We can start training right away.
What's Nolan's plan here? How can he possibly hope to fight off an army of Viltrumites with just 2 Viltrumites? This is like bashing 2 rocks against 100 identical rocks and expecting the first 2 rocks to win. I had a very dull childhood.
No, it's too soon.
I agree. It is too soon. Mark's been here for what, 20 minutes? And the Viltrumites just showed up? Can you imagine if Mark had been delayed by 2 hours? He'd have arrived to find a massacred planet and we'd have missed out on all the family drama, and now I suddenly wish Mark had been delayed by 2 hours.
We'll be safe here.
They will not.
At first, it was hard to know him. He was so hurt, so closed off after what happened on Earth.
If you think he was hurt after what happened on Earth, wait until I tell you about the people of, well, Earth. Also, I'd love to know how Nolan explained what happened on Earth in a way that didn't immediately repulse Andressa. I'm guessing it must have gone something like, yes, I was going to kill and/or enslave a planet called Earth, but you should have seen how many bugs they kill every day. They build entire industries on it. Honestly, they had it coming.
Nolan made another child?
Mark I can understand, but why would he immediately assume Bug Boy is Nolan's as well? Do Viltrumites have DNA test vision? The slicey hand chop might be the superpower I understand the least out of any superhero franchise. If Nolan's nails or fingers can cut through even Viltrumite skin, why isn't this his opening move? Why would you ever throw a punch when you can just as easily serve up some slice and die?
Shooting, shooting, shooting.
Excitement? If you ask Hollywood, yes. Slamming your opponent into a wall instead of just surrounding him in a ball and cutting off all the oxygen until he passes out. Or turning him into a banana, or literally anything that matter-converting powers will allow. And doing all that back on the base instead of in public. Come on, Eve, that bridge deserved better. Oh, and the civilians. Yeah, them too. I guess we'll just straight up gloss over how Donald has Cecil's password. Why would we care about something like that? Also, this is entirely too much typing for the word Cecil.
I'm not supposed to feel this way. How is this better?
Look, redeeming Nolan in any meaningful way is going to be an uphill struggle, but somehow, watching him sincerely battle with and be confused by the notion that he can feel remorse and guilt is kind of convincing me that it might actually be possible. For now. Listen, I'm all for variety, especially when Viltrumite battles usually equate to flying, punching really hard, and surviving being punched really hard. But what the f*** is up with the stabby ponytail? Is the spike made out of her hair? Or is she accessorized with a blade that's able to hurt Viltrumite skin? And if it's the latter, shouldn't they have brought more of those to fight the mighty Nolan?
I never break my promises.
I'd be more inclined to believe you if I hadn't watched you leave Alan alive in the last episode.
If you're not trying to kill her, you're going to die.
This pep talk suddenly makes Mark a better fighter, because now his intent is to kill instead of disable? But I don't get it. He knows how strong Viltrumites are. Was he honestly worried about accidentally killing one of them if he used too much force? I feel like he could go absolute ham and still be several degrees of moral ambiguity away from having to deal with his conscience. Azula isn't blasting Mark with lightning in this scene. Just an entire buttload of do any of these injuries even matter? Who cares? Because yay punching things of gratuitous meaninglessness.
Don't worry. It's over.
I'll bet you one intestine-defying supersonic chiropractic adjustment it isn't, Captain Premature Celebration Man.
Next time you kill somebody, make sure they're dead.
To be fair to Nolan, the script made it look like you were really super f***ing dead. Like, super deceased. 100% not of this world. Absolute fatality. You were a former Viltrumite. Definitively moved to the past participle. Ceased to be... You get the idea. Also, here's a retroactive Lucan survives this long enough to get a sin.
If you change your mind...
I won't.
Because very little of interest happens in this scene, I decided to ponder that Cecil and his organization have access to personal teleporting tech that could be used to revolutionize how humans exist and live and, you know, how they haven't. What in the Bland Motel room art is up with these framed photos? We got 2 pictures of flowers and then a nondescript aerial view of some river. Did Debbie forget to put family photos in these? Did the animators not want to draw any more pictures of Debbie, Nolan, and Mark? I need answers. He's still alive?
My books. Read my books, Mark.
We get it, Nolan. You're an author. Jeez. There's a time and place to promote your novels, and that's when you need to feel important and impress the extended family you hate at the Thanksgiving dinner table. That's it. That's Melancholy Song the Third, and I've had it. That is altogether too many melancholies. How am I supposed to enjoy Christmas? Strike me down, oh mighty YouTubenians. Look, I appreciate Invincible tackling the rare issue of collateral damage heroes cause and Eve struggling with guilt about that. But what is this ending showing us exactly? Is she going to move back home and let her father emotionally abuse her again until Mark or someone comes to pull her back into superheroing? Because I think I'd rather take the collateral damage.
Thank God.
Donald seems relieved that he's bleeding, which I guess means he thought he might be a robot, but why can't he just be a robot that bleeds? How does he know that's even real blood? Does he not understand how living tissue over a metal endoskeleton works? Oh, Donald would make an amazing Terminator. Wait, what the f did I just see? Did he just shake off 100% of that blood from his hand? Why can't we see more of that superpower?
Why stop at one idiot clone when I could have so many more?
Or you could stop making idiot clones entirely and try to work on a way to make them smarter. No? Too attached to the clone argues with identical clone about who's better bit? Cool. Maybe it'll get funny by season 4.
Sometimes things are the way they are for a good reason.
You can tell me that all you want, but it will not stop me from sinning you for splitting an 8-episode season into 2 halves when I've already had to wait 2 years between seasons. How dare you persevere through a pandemic and strikes and still make me wait for your high-quality content, you monsters. Wow, Mark, that's a really great impression of someone seeing footage of Philadelphia's ruins after every Eagles playoff victory. Very realistic. Not sure why you're doing that impression here and now, but it's spot on.
The city, these people, it's all our fault.
No, this, like most things in this series, is all your father's fault. We all like our heroes to feel guilty for shit they're not responsible for, but there are limits.
Our culture doesn't assign blame.
Really? You're missing out on so much, though. You guys probably don't even have polling or political pundits. How do you find the strength to live?
Behold, the might of Omnipotence! Tremble before my unlimited power!
And whatever you do, don't attack me before I finish my villainous monologue. This part's very sweet and heartfelt, so let's ruin it with annoying questions. Why is he purple and not green? Why do Thraxans have lips and not mandibles? Why do they speak English? Why don't they make any cricket-like noises at all? And why does that disappoint me so much?
Who is that?
I'm going to guess the plot device to give your character meaning now that you're an empty nester.
Maybe I could take a year off from college to look after him.
Mark doing that thing kids do when they suggest something horrible, so their parents will do what they want anyway.
Cecil, what the hell am I now?
I'd assume that Cecil's lying to you again and you're fully a robot, but who would program an existential crisis into a robot? Who's even that bored? Will isn't going to be highlighting anything if he doesn't put a cap back on that marker.
Since when did you start locking the window?
Maybe around the same time you decided hovering outside of a dorm room in broad daylight was a good idea. Frightening someone who can punch a hole through granite.
The Guardians almost died saving the planet.
First of all, dying is kind of what the Guardians do. Second of all, are you really going to show me a bunch of clips from the stupid fight I don't care about without showing me how it ended?
They took me to this insane planet.
Starting to say superhero stuff before you're even inside the door. Also, Mark has super senses, right? How did he not hear the people inside the room before he almost gave away his identity?
I failed a sociology test that's worth 1/3 of my grade.
You had a test that impactful within the first 2 months of college? I don't buy it. What's the other 2/3? The midterm and the final? Is there no homework component? Class participation? Show me the syllabus.
It's not his job to track my transformations.
Isn't it though? You're gonna get Benjamin buttoned over training. Not a real fight, but training. We're talking about training, man. Training?
Well, you think we'd let you join the team without figuring that out?
I thought Immortal let him onto the team without so much as a background check. I'm not going back to check though, because I don't care enough. And Amazon has ads now. Not worth it.
So you'll need my technical expertise. I'll be protected in my suit.
You've already shown the ability to remote pilot a robot suit. Why risk going at all? I hear work from home's all the rage these days, even if the hungry polar bears brought in to keep us confined to our offices is a bit intimidating at times. One day I'll be free.
You've got to like at least one human food.
Why not ask Mark what Purple Boy ate on his homeworld? Or during that 6-day space trip?
Mark, I need you to go to space again.
What? I just got back from space. You were actually pretty pissed about it.
Mark would be indispensable at TV sins.
This guy's now the ranking guardian on Earth.
Says who?
It's like calling shotgun.
Rex is an idiot, but shouldn't there be some kind of hierarchy within the team? Like for when they have to split up or decide between Taco Bell or Sonic for the 5th time in a row?
Like there's gonna be 2 huge world-shattering emergencies at the same time. Oh no!
Jinxing your coworkers and getting them killed. Gotta hand it to you, Rex. You really f***ed up this time. Not only is the wall wider in this shot, but you can tell that they just added the alarm that he's hitting. The hang in there poster is a nice touch, though.
The warship sensors are very powerful. They'll know the difference between space garbage and whatever we are.
You're telling us this now?
You idiots are discussing your plan now? You're pulling up to the warship and you haven't even discussed how to get onto the warship with a guy who knows shit about the warship? How long did this flight take? How long have you guys been prepping for this mission? Why are you all so bad at this?
Don't we have shields or something?
This isn't Star Trek. We're unarmed.
First of all, shields are not a weapon. Shut up, Captain America fanboys. I said what I said. Secondly, this is way stupider than Star Trek, so no argument there.
I disrupted their nervous systems, but they'll be awake again soon.
Kill as many as you can while they're out.
Or just hear me out here. Go directly to the source while they're all stunned. Okay, this is just gore for the sake of gore. You're not going to break in two by being thrown at a wall. Also, the monitor didn't even crack. Why is Kate made out of powdered sugar?
But you'll need to protect me until I'm done.
Easy. Get back into your suit and have Eve phase you both through the walls to a different part of the ship while everyone else distracts the squid monsters. Then come back when your disruptor is finished. I mean, you're not all just going to stand there helpless until Eve has an aneurysm, right? Right?
She doesn't stay small.
Maybe don't give the bad guys hints, Rex. And there. That's exactly what would have happened if Ant-Man crawled up Thanos' ass and tried to expand. Happy now, Internet?
But is it the brave man who survives? Or is it the one who waits until his opponent is too injured to fight?
Admitting to being a bench warmer. Also, where was he this entire time? If he wasn't cowering under a desk in true Cobra Commander fashion, I will be disappointed. Not immediately grabbing Rudy and Eve and flying them to safety. You have super speed and strength. Use them. Think, Mark, think!
I knew without it, you would either die or recover stronger than before.
This is a blatant ripoff of Saiyans and their Zenkai boosts, and I won't stand for it. What's next? A superpowered alien being sent to Earth to one day take it over for a malevolent, war-hungry race of conquerors? Wait a f***ing minute.
Holy shit, you're a Viltrumite?
I don't get it. Was it a fake beard? Or did he just tear it off? Can Viltrumites not grow beards? Wait, Nolan grew a beard last episode. How does not having a beard make someone a Viltrumite? Am I a Viltrumite? Ow! Nope, my beard is very real.
He is the key to turning the tide of this war.
You should tell that to all the dead Thraxans. Rex survives this. No, not in the usual I can't believe he didn't die kind of way, but in the never have I rooted harder for a bullet to do its intended job kind of way. Invincible's under the impression that we need to see every last ounce of blood leave Rex's body, and we do not.
Whatever you are planning, it will fail.
It will not. Cliché.
We will grant you death instead.
If you thus far lack the ability to enslave them, why are you so sure you can kill them now? The fight seems like a stalemate thus far. I'm weirdly curious about which part of Shapeshift's body his head is currently popping out of. I mean, I'm not, but I kind of am. Eve is conscious now, has been for a few minutes. So why isn't she using her powers? Make a suit for yourself and Rudy real quick. What's stopping you? Immortal and Invincible can't even get along long enough to have a 2-second conversation, but they've got a freaking nodding system worked out.
I'm not sure you'll ever get the floors clean again.
If you don't watch Breaking Bad, if you have enough time and chemicals, you can clean anything. A few corpse barrels, some industrial dissolvement, some bleach, and wham, clean missiles base.
Sir? Are you all right?
Being defeated by a brain-damaged man with one hand. This is why no one takes you seriously, Lizard King. We'd understand if you were beaten by Shrinking Ray. But Rex? Why the f*** is Black Samson carrying the astronaut? Why not one of the people who can actually fly?
Which button fires back?
I don't know. I've only been inside one of these ones when I was a kid. It was a school trip.
Taking children on a school trip in a heavily armed spaceship. How the f*** did Mark know that's where the engine was? Did he grab some schematics during their hasty escape that we didn't get to see? Oh, that must have been what the cutaway was for.
Let's see if we can do this without you peeing on me again.
Kids.
Right. Because a top secret government lab is the perfect place to raise a child.
Have you seen the waiting lists and costs at daycares post-COVID? Trust me, Debbie, if you're being offered free childcare, you take it. There are working couples across the country that would kill to place their kids in a government lab for a few hours a day.
All right, you win.
Really? Because I get the sentiment, but that kid still has some Viltrumite in him and could be an eventual danger to the entire planet. But sure, let's just leave him with Deb and hope for the best.
I'm gonna need an entire box of Q-tips to get all that sequid slime out of my ears.
Using tiny eardrum perforating cotton swords to clean your ears out. Perhaps one thing this superhero series does better than any other is show us the actual consequences of being a superhero. It's not all colorful tights and quips. People die. People grieve. Nowhere is their humanity on greater display than in the silence. Remove a f***ing sin before I start crying.
Kate Chaw was a fearless warrior.
I still don't understand how Kate died. If she can make copies of herself, why not make one and leave it at headquarters permanently? Is there a limit on the distance her copies can travel from each other? If not, tuck 2 or 3 away in bunkers and she'd still be alive. And even if we find out later she did do this, the fact that this isn't everyone's first assumption is a sin.
Why do I feel this way, Marcus? Because he loved her, man.
Did he? We got one post-combat shower scene. Would have been cool to actually see them interacting maybe a bit more.
I'm at the point where I just roll out of bed and go to lectures in my pajamas.
College kids.
We're hoping his Viltrumite half will kick in soon.
You are? Because I'd think having to choose some food for the kid is a small price to pay to keep him from, say, going mad on Viltrumite juice and trying to take over the world.
I missed you.
I missed you too.
Skip!
Mark, look who's back!
Whoa, Rick. How are you feeling?
Am I supposed to remember this character? Hang on, let me check the wiki real quick. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, the guy from that one episode. Yep, totally remembered him.
Turns out Rex really likes home decorating magazines.
His teammates would probably give him shit for that, but I think Rex is onto something. Never am I more calm and relaxed than when HDTV is on. If I've had a bad day, watching people redesign a living room is the shit.
You're the only person I know who still reads magazines.
I hear people say this all the time, yet every time I'm at Barnes & Noble, I see 15 magazine racks that tell a different story. I just realized for that sin to work, you'd actually have to believe I went to bookstores. Oh, books.
So, Helga, you've been a nanny for 30 years.
Dressing like Mary Poppins for your nanny interview seems to be a little over the top, but you do you, Helga. Oliver conveniently grabbing scissors right as April needs to show Debbie how good she will be at nannying, and I guess keeping scissors away from Oliver is convenient. Also leaving scissors out in a room where a small child is playing.
I also play a mean lullaby on the ukulele.
Why would Oliver want a mean lullaby? Don't you think a child would be more soothed by, like, a nice lullaby?
Mama boss.
See? Oliver knows who's in charge.
I mean, Oliver didn't say Charles, so does he really know who's in charge?
Real nice place you made here, Eve.
Cecil.
Reminds me of where I grew up.
Cecil grew up in a treehouse?
But you know how to find me if you need my help again.
And you know where to find me when you change your mind.
So that was a minute of Cecil saying, Eve, you should come back. And Eve saying, no thanks. And then Cecil saying, you know where to find me. And why is this scene? I'll never get that time back. And I'm neither invincible or immortal.
Just leave your suit and I'll have it fixed by morning.
Where exactly does Art think Mark is keeping his suit? You should really find out where and how that juice is being refrigerated before taking a swig, Amber. You're in a treehouse.
Because I'm doing exactly to her what my dad did to me and my mom.
Well, not exactly what Nolan did. You aren't secretly preparing Earth for invasion while calling Amber your pet, right? Right?
Nolan wrote more than just travel books.
And conveniently, Art asked about seeing your dad again so you could tell him the whole read my books bit. And now Art can give you said book so you can read an exposition away. Yay?
Can you believe he gave them to me as a tip once?
Worrying about a lame tip to the kid whose dad tried to murder him and everyone he loves.
They did upgrade the waffle maker in the cafeteria.
Unless that upgrade gives the waffle maker the ability to question its purpose in life, I'm not interested.
Rick, I'm so sorry. It's going to be all right. I promise.
Unkeepable promises. This Magnum Pie poster is not hanging up in my office. Starting in the middle of a book. Also reading.
Savage Planet, Savage Beasts.
Title of my sex tape?
How can I hear you speak?
Immortal even screams in his mind? I'm starting to think all being immortal does is making an angry dick all the time. We are supposed to root for this guy occasionally, right? How can we show you our characters are in college if we don't show a douchey college party? Cliché.
You know, on my planet, sock on the door means somebody's f***ing.
Not sure if I find it weirder that they have the same code on Alan's planet or that they even wear socks.
I just got back from space. Twice. I'm not going back just to talk to your boss.
Mark would be Interstellar at TV Sins.
I've heard rumors of a Viltrumite prison somewhere in space. Maybe they took him there.
Show tries to set up its own Boiling Rock prison break storyline, and stealing from The Last Airbender will always get you a sin.
Hey, Mark, are you and Amber done yet?
Even though he's not actually being a sock blocker, since Mark and Amber aren't in the middle of hooking up, William is still totally being a sock blocker. Oh, cool. We're not done with the Sequids yet. I was really hoping they'd come back. Hang on, are you telling me Cecil didn't run scans on this dude after his return to Earth and quarantine him? Because I'm calling bullshit on the world's most paranoid man letting the astronaut just go home.
It is good to be home.
Oh, wow. Angstrom Levy is in the city. Yay.
All will kneel before Grom.
Giving your Thanos knockoff a General Zod line. You should never cross the spoof streams, Invincible.
Is that really what I look like?
When I say whenever I accidentally look in the mirror somehow makes it into the episode.
When's the new season of Seance Dog coming out?
Asking the guy who writes the comic when the animated adaptation of his work is coming out. You know, comic book writers don't have any control over animation studios, the entertainment companies that stream their shows, or how they split the seasons into two strange chunks that completely kneecap the momentum, right?
You ever notice that sometimes whoever's speaking has their mouth off camera so you never see their lips moving?
Okay, this entire section where the animators tell impatient viewers to settle down to be patient in between new episodes is f***ing hilarious. I applaud the unspecified genitals it took to slip this into an actual episode of Invincible. Take one sin back.
But sometimes the artists get carried away and it kind of looks like a different show.
Or sometimes the artists carry on with a meta bit for just long enough that you start to wonder if the meta-ness has circled back around to just be a very real confession of sins.
I'd go myself, but...
We need some more drama in our relationship, which honestly is the only reason why I'm calling you and not any of the half dozen other Guardians.
Thanks for holding on to that stuff for me.
Making your girlfriend without super strength carry your shit instead of just stashing your goods on a skyscraper where you can easily retrieve them later. If you're going to take time to hang a lantern on cutting animation corners, why not mention how often you reuse models? I've seen this lady like several times already and used this guy twice within the same scene.
Even a bullet to the head couldn't kill you.
I mean, it could. Just because that one happened to blow out an apparently useless chunk of your mind doesn't mean the next one won't strike a more vital area.
Do your pals sound as dumb as you do?
That's Squidist. Thinking slow motion will enhance these tiny and highly ineffective explosions.
Next time, open with that.
Rex would be Rexlin at Rexins.
It was either that or retire and open a bar someplace hot.
Thinking about opening a bar, aka pursuing bankruptcy.
We're still the best superhero team on the f***ing planet.
I'm saying this not because it isn't true, but because I'm pretty sure it is true, and that makes me so very disappointed.
So, those drones cost approximately...
If they were so expensive, why didn't you put them in training mode so they couldn't destroy each other? You know, for the smart one, you do a lot of dumb shit.
Let me fix you.
Saying this to an actual human being.
You got a guy who's supposed to be a genius, but the best idea he could come up with was to make himself a new body with DNA he stole from a coworker, so he could date a different coworker who currently does not want to date him.
Did you see his old body? Plus, what's with all the self-effacing meta commentary in this episode? You think pointing out how ridiculous this team is going to score any bonus points with me? But bonus sins? Sure, absolutely. 3 of them.
Our leader's a guy who's so old, he shits dust.
U.S. politics.
And finally, whatever the hell Shapesmith is.
Dude, he's a Martian. You already knew that. It was disclosed 2 episodes ago. Weren't you paying attention?
We're already 2 members down. You want to quit?
You were just trying to send this guy on mandatory leave in the last episode. Make up your mind, Cecil. Do you want Immortal on the team or not?
Your old job just opened back up.
Putting the kid you previously deemed unfit for the job back into the leader role. Wouldn't Black Adam be the better choice if you wanted experience to lead? Were they both sleeping on top of their covers? Psychopaths.
I don't know what's worse. D.A. Sinclair taking me apart or those doctors putting me back together?
Probably being taken apart since it necessitated the being put back together.
Remember, you asked for this.
He did not. He simply asked who made the decision to erase his memories, a question you could have easily answered with 2 words. You did.
Mr. Grayson, the dean will see you now.
Wait, are you telling me they rehearsed Mark's excuse right in front of the dean's secretary? She was 5 feet away as they practiced lying out loud? Was she invisible? How do you not see her?
It's Dean Winslow now, Mark.
I didn't know you'd moved schools.
Stealing the principal follows his students to college idea from Boy Meets World. Also, I've known many fine students who've been kicked out of college and none of them ever met with the dean. I'm pretty sure the only thing college deans do these days is glad hand and accept checks from boosters.
I chose to have my memories erased?
Saying this as soon as the doors open without taking time to see if anyone but Cecil was in the office.
Oh, hey. Hi, April.
Wait, if Mark was home this entire time, why was April still there? Mark could have been watching his little brother. What, was he taking a nap?
He brought me a tree once instead of flowers.
Well, that's f***ing hilarious. Sure wish we could have gotten to see this side of Nolan, but that's fine. I hear telling instead of showing is all the rage these days.
Is it really a relationship if you're mostly alone?
For your information, Debbie, the answer is yes. The relationship I'm about to have with this calzone in front of me is going to be incredibly intimate and explicit.
I'm missing parts of me, and I don't know what to do.
Did you just start a new game? And is your name Samus?
I don't know the official number, but I think I'm about 98% machine.
How can you live with that?
How could you live without it? Personally, the weakness of my flesh disgusts me. Sitting down hurts my back and my ass. Where's the justice in that? Where's the grand design? Nah, chrome me up, baby. I'm the first in line. Also, it turns out your brain makes up about 2% of your body weight, so the 98% math checks out. But what I refuse to believe is with all the video of Donald dying several times, often in explosions, you're telling me his brain remained intact through all of it? Did none of Donald's enemies aim for the head? Were all of his deaths caused by Thor?
No calls to go save the world. It's just us tonight.
I have serious ethical concerns with this.
Staring a gift horse in the mouth. You are literally getting everything you've asked for from Mark this evening, and he busted his ass to make it happen. Don't lessen that effort on Mark's part by questioning the ethics, at least not out loud. Amber remains conscious, despite being so high up in the air that there's less, well, air. Also, wouldn't it be freezing that high up? Should have brought her a parka. Great animation and a beautiful image, and then you realize your toilet is likely cleaner than that river. Well, not mine, but someone's toilet. Somewhere. Why was that funny? This is like women laughing while eating salad levels of hilarity. I'm glad Mark protects his secret identity so thoroughly. It's not like everyone's carrying around highly advanced cameras in their pockets these days.
Should I ask Cecil for a salary?
What? You're getting the beat out of you on a regular basis and you aren't being paid? Listen, Mark, a wise man once said, if you're good at something, never do it for free. Have some self-respect in your worth, man. Oh, now he cares about his secret identity?
We're doing everything we can in case this turns ugly, Mark.
Except setting up some kind of monitoring system so you guys stop getting completely surprised by these f***ing aliens.
Human civilization has less than an 18% chance of surviving the next 2 centuries without the loss of billions of lives.
Never tell me the odds. Really, don't. I'm so sick of this humans are only going to destroy themselves, so let's enslave them cliché.
We have the technology to repair their climate.
I'm not convinced humanity lacks the tech to solve climate change in this universe. They've literally made Terminators like Donald. Pulling carbon out of the atmosphere and removing plastic from the ocean seems like child's play compared to that.
Based on bone and muscle density scans, the simulations give Mark a less than 18% chance of surviving a combat encounter with her.
I already told you not to give me the odds. And not only did you not listen, but you gave me the same exact percentages before.
Satellites are picking up a behemoth-class kaiju. South Pacific. Closing fast on a passenger cruise liner.
This isn't the first kaiju to appear in this world, so I guess my question is, if you know there are giant monsters in the water, why are cruise ships still even a thing? That industry should have crumbled the first time a kaiju destroyed one of their monster-sized buffet tables.
Viltrumites do not kill for pleasure. even if they sometimes take pleasure in killing.
How the hell did she say this with a straight face? Does she work in Viltrumite HR or some sh**?
Look, there's a ship in danger. I need to go help.
What is even the point of the Guardians? They're so inept that Mark has to skip out in the middle of an incredibly fraught showdown with an intergalactic threat? All right, hear me out. I know it's a big dumb animal, but if something the size of a fly punched the shit out of me while I was eating a hamburger, I'd at the very least interrupt my meal to make sure it was dead. Why did he land on the ship? Why not just go back to punching it?
Well, that's one way to do it.
It was the obvious thing to do, and as is custom in this show, it's the last thing someone tried. Also, that ship is now in pristine condition. No damage whatsoever.
Maybe humanity's not perfect.
Ain't no maybe about it. Have you met humans? We're pretty f***ed up. We made 5 Highlander movies. 5! There can only be one Mark. Hold it. Freeze frame. I know people give the overworked and often underpaid animators shit for making us wait 4 months for 4 episodes, but can we just take a minute to appreciate the absolute beauty of this shot? The lighting of the sky, the colors, the forms of Mark and Anissa just before Invincible gets expedited shipping down to Earth service. The artists knock it out of the park with this show.
One goddamn Viltrumite all by our lonesome and we're f***ing useless.
I agree. You are f***ing useless here. So why do we keep cutting back to Cecil and Donald for commentary? Every time the action gets good, they cut away to someone commentating on said action and it kills the momentum. Who do you think you are, My Hero Academia?
Just say the goddamn words, Mark.
Well, I'm actually impressed that Mark refuses to yield in the face of an unstoppable opponent. I call BS on his earpiece still functioning through all of this physical trauma. That earpiece must be...
I pray you come to your senses before then.
You pray to who exactly? Do the Viltrumites even have a god? I always assumed they were spaceists. Like space atheist, get it? Spaceists. Leaving your phone on the edge of a tall building instead of in your pocket. You and your earpiece might be invincible, but that smartphone is not. And since Cecil apparently isn't paying you, I'm assuming Debbie would have to drop another $700 to replace it, or maybe even twice that if she uses an Apple.
Hello, Mark. When are you coming home?
Well, Angstrom has come a long way from being a pacifist, hasn't he? Threatening a grieving widow and a baby. I can't wait to hear his moral justification for that one. With how big an empty space is, it's ridiculous that he runs into their ship. But I'm really sitting this for how dumb he looks flying along on his phone. Someone get this man a spaceship, please.
Foolish you know, Ben.
Anissa, who we previously believed to be a tactical genius, falls for this obvious playing dead trick. When you have the same intellectual weakness as brown bears, it doesn't inspire much confidence in your mental prowess. Why are you getting so close to him? You have guns. They actually work better from far away. What are you trying to do anyway? Cuff him?
They didn't tell you who I was, did they?
Better question. Why wouldn't they know who he was? They're the prison guards. Everyone knows who Nolan is in this prison. Hell, Nolan's probably jumped the shark and is known by the entire cast of The Simpsons, Bluey, and Rick and Morty by this point.
You came all the way out here for me?
Wait, wasn't Craig on the ship with Nolan the entire time? If he wasn't, don't tell me because I really don't care, but I'm pretty sure he was.
It seems you've passed inspection. Finally fit for your execution.
Oh, it was an inspection. Makes total sense. What the is happening with this show for sake?
This is gonna kill me.
Running. I'll lift weights. I'll swim. I'll ride a bike. But running, that's the devil's exercise.
You'll feel...
You know I hate it when they do this, but this time was worse because they really made me wait for it, as if title edging somehow elevates the eventual invincigasm. I can assure you it does not.
Is the Mark Grayson of this dimension a risk taker?
He chooses time and time again, despite superhero-level ass-kicking, to remain in an industry one does not enter without deciding to be a risk taker. I thought you were smart, dude. Don't you have like 1,000 brains?
I had help!
You know what he doesn't have anymore, though, Mark? Your mother in a chokehold. So why not punch him in the face now instead of listening to him monologue?
My word, how is this possible?
Nothing ratchets up the tension like talking dinosaurs.
Stay back! No one's eating me!
Shame on the show for having Mark forget he can fly away just long enough for me to think we're going to watch Invincible beat the shit out of some dinosaurs and then not deliver.
Your little family is safe. As long as I don't determine that the only way to hurt you is to hurt them.
So, to recap, everything will be fine. Unless I, on a whim, decide everything will be bad. Why even speak with this nonsense?
So do them a favor and die.
As I send you to another world that is only marginally dangerous. Like one filled with tap-dancing hippos. Or one where everyone has dandruff. What's that sound? Is that? Yeah, must be. Marvel, trying to sue as hard as they can.
You got glowing red eyes, man.
That's Arachnist. But he really couldn't win here. If he went after Ock, he'd be Cephalopodist. Also, he doesn't have glowing red eyes. You can't even see his eyes. You can only see his red goggles.
You're not gonna hurt them.
He will, though, in like 5 minutes. So people need to stop lying to Debbie and Oliver about the danger they're in.
Chainsaw's scared.
I don't want to feel bad for Angstrom and his kid, but Chainsaw? Terrible name. And why a pet fox? Why a pet at all when you're running for your life?
You actually thought you could hide from me?
Not really, because as soon as you started to break in, he just kind of stood there.
I'll kill the boy quickly.
Flashback doesn't reveal if Chainsaw survives. Also, how did this Angstrom survive his encounter with Invincible each time? Was he teleported away by Angstrom Prime? Yes, that's what I'm calling him. A second after this happened? Did he always have fresh towels nearby? Certainly hope so. Flashback doesn't reveal if this version of Angstrom has powers or why he has a cool outfit and his staff. What? Are you getting paid hourly? You're killing these people slower than regular people kill people.
He's a murderer!
So are you, dude. You killed a dentist and then melted the murder weapon down and put it into the patient's mouth without them knowing. That's even worse.
He deserves to die right now!
So you're going to teleport him to a world that'll actually hurt him, right? Right?
It's over.
Saying it's over instead of just, ending it. I mean, if Mark was this much of a pacifist the first time he met Angstrom, none of this would be happening and he'd be in a utopia by now. Or something. Somehow them talking is more offensive than the dinosaurs. Also, yet another dangerous dimension that's easily solved by flying.
Your son is more resilient than I anticipated.
It's not that. You're just really bad at this.
In so many other dimensions, you join your husband and son when they slaughter millions and make the earth burn.
Angstrom is just too lucid and reasonable to be this stupid. He has an encyclopedic knowledge of all these dimensions, their histories, their traits, even their elevation, but he doesn't realize that he's going after apparently the only good Invincible in existence. He's medieval Invincibles, though. He has real beef with plenty of evil Invincibles, but he's got a hate boner for the only good one. This conflict boils down to this. Angstrom had a dream where Invincible cheated on him, and he's really, really pissed about it.
You're a traitor to your own kind.
Confusing traitor for hostage. Mother of all that is holy and pure, stop making me watch people's arms get snapped. I hated it when Sensui did it to Yusuke, and I hate it here. An automatic 3 sins. Do that shit off camera.
I'm even gonna make this child.
I'd give back all the sins if Oliver went full Jack here and kicked Angstrom's ass with a shitload of powers. Good one, Angstrom. In this dimension, is Mark going to learn the horror of burnt marshmallows? This episode needed a disclaimer for this very moment, pretty sure. Whoa, that is a lot of blood. I'm not even sure the human body holds that much blood. This is so much blood that even Attack on Titan is watching this and saying, whoa, dude, let's tone it down.
I thought you were stronger.
This insane buildup to Mark finally being forced to take his first life and him realizing he did it by accident because Angstrom wasn't as strong as he promised is such an emotional payoff and an absolute emotional bomb to end the season on. It's even a darkly beautiful reflection on the end of season 1. So go ahead and take a sin off for Steven Yeun's performance and the writing that made it possible before I ding you for another inconsistent villain. Another inconsistent villain. Oh, now they show up.
You! Get the medics in here.
Why are you wasting time with medics? Teleport Debbie to your secret Pentagon hospital.
I'm gonna die here.
Okay, but even if Earth is destroyed in this universe, can't you fly to another habitable planet somewhere in the galaxy? I mean, it worked for Nolan.
I've looked up to you since I was a child.
Is that why you copied his mustache? Or are all Viltrumite men required to have one? If so, Mark's got some work to do.
As far as the eye can see, nothing.
Oh, too bad that you don't have a way to quickly traverse the globe or anything. That'd come in handy.
We've already said too much. Any more and we could disrupt the time stream.
So let me get this straight. These are Guardians from the future in Mark's universe. They have time machines, and they somehow tracked Mark to this particular reality 20 years after his fight with Angstrom. Do I have that right? I just want to make sure the 3 sins I'm about to hit you with for absolute horse are as accurate as possible.
Mark, I'm opening a portal that will send you home.
You know, as far as Deus Ex Machinas go, this one's so lame it almost doesn't bother me. It's like they said, you're not going to like it either way, so let's just make it quick.
Is it over?
No, you still got 20 minutes left in the episode. This is like reading Return of the King and discovering Sauron is defeated halfway through and you've got like another 300 pages to go. There is no jelly on this sandwich. And no plate or napkin in sight? You're gonna get crumbs everywhere. And then Sterling Archer will make fun of you like forever.
I'm sorry, I never told you.
And I'm sorry, I actually thought this show was going to have real stakes. Instead, it decided to screw with me to get the emotional pop it wanted and then just wipe it all clean because me for caring about these bland side characters. But thank God they can keep this romance subplot going. What a relief. Also, right before Kate died, she cried out for help from Ray and Rex, which could have gotten them killed. Thankfully, they did jack shit to help her, but why call out at all if you know you've got a backup? And why have an episode where you pretend to kill 3 people? Do you want your viewers to watch a horrific death scene and then just go, meh, not dead, meh, meh, 5 sins?
Come on, we'll find another way out.
Oh, this is like one of those National Treasure tunnels where there's always another exit for when the heroes inevitably get trapped. I love those. This is going to sound harsh, but who the are these two and why should I care?
Is that him?
Yeah, it's the guy who did yeah, I've got no clue. Isn't this the season finale? I've forgotten everything about this, and by the time it comes up again, I will have forgotten everything about it again.
I must inhabit a living male host to escape the curse of this tomb.
That's sexist.
Assuming the cursed mummy had anything to do with the curse he was cursed with. Which stage of grief is epilepsy? I've never seen anyone emo fly before. I mean, don't get me wrong, I appreciate how upset Mark is about killing Angstrom, but it didn't feel like he had any alternatives or that Angstrom was capable of being spared. Super stalking. If Mark can regrow teeth, why does he still have a black eye?
Gas leak blew up the house across the street last year. Now your place?
This random biker would put the pedal to the metal on TV sins.
Things are gonna be different now, aren't they?
Not really. Your son will keep getting his ass beat while you try to raise his brother. Honestly, same different day for you.
I'm quitting college.
Mark.
It doesn't make sense. I'm missing all my classes, and the more I think about it, what's the point?
What's the point? You're going to miss out on the most important part of college, the crippling debt. It's just the perfect amount of despair and regret to spice up routine activities like opening letters and answering phone calls. I'm just joking. As far as my loan servicers know, I'm legally dead.
I really do.
This is a sin for the episode, not just ending here.
There's something else I want to talk to you about. It's nothing. I'm sorry.
Spiking someone's anxiety with a we need to talk moment only to say never mind. Do you know what that does to anxious people, Mark? Do you?
I see the suffering of lesser beings, and it upsets me deeply.
Well, you know what upsets lesser beings? Being called lesser beings. Kinda negates your growth in alleged humanity, Nolan.
I miss my wife.
Which one? You need to be specific.
Worst cosmic wars ever.
I'm not gonna make it, am I? I can feel it. Are you just gonna stand there? Do something!
I made you, Samantha.
You banged Mom?
But you didn't listen to me. You think you can do these things, but you just can't, Nemo.
You like Krabby Patties, don't you, Squidward?
Fall back and, form a perimeter or something.
We don't need so-called superheroes. What Empire City needs is more cops. And a Hooters.
Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
I'm sorry.
Start? I don't feel so good.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Oh, you are back, Dr. Brentworth.
He was a bastard.
Bastard-coated bastards with bastard filling.
A garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests of a contradictory thoughts.
Who holds a grudge this long? I said I was sorry.
Don't. Love means never having to say you're sorry.
I stopped the Maulers, but things exploded. Are you okay?
What happened to your face? It looks like an old catcher's mitt.
You know, when you're a rookie, they can teach you everything about being a cop except how to live with a mistake.
Even after they pay me the money, I'm still gonna melt every city on the planet with liquid hot magma.
200 degrees in sunlight, minus 200 in the shade, canyons of razor-sharp rock, unpredictable gravitational conditions, unexpected eruptions.
Okay, so the scariest environment imaginable. Thanks. That's all you gotta say. Scariest environment imaginable.
Mr. Pickard, I'll be reminding you that it's 1 o'clock. I'm sure I made it clear to you that the rent is always due, payable in full by 1 o'clock on Wednesdays.
Next time they shine your light in the sky, don't go to it. The bat is dead.
Tell me, do you bleed?
I have your car towed all the way to your house, and all you got for me is light beer?
You have our deepest sympathies, Marvin of Unalpa.
We apologize with nice, cheap words.
It looks like federal housing, concrete and glass egg crates.
Ouch, but 1,000 of those in the district.
Fractured images coming in. Numbers 9 and 6.
I don't know how you eat Canslock. It's disgusting.
Slimy, yet satisfying.
This isn't how it's supposed to end. On the contrary, I could not have allowed this to end otherwise.
Fear. I know these aren't good for me, but...
Oh, shut up.
All I've had to eat for the past 6 days are gummy bears, jelly beans, and candy corns.
Open your mind and let me help you reach the other side.
Risky move for a dog with no powers. Some would say heroic. I would say dumb.
You can throw television sets, diamond rings, or even your worst enemies into a black hole, and all the black hole will remember is a total mass.
Like wearing pants with no underwear.
The only thing between him and us is a thin layer of gabardine.
I was wondering what would break first, your spirit or your body.
Why you little boy must die!
I love you, Dad.
Who is that?
State of the art.
Top of the line. Spared no expense.
You're his mom. Look at me.
I'm old now, Frodo.
Wait, forgot to give you this.
I quit drinking. I think I might be an alcoholic.
You found a little bit of that pink slime.
My skeleton feels like it's made of skin.
I'm not some stupid you convinced to get into a pig.
Good work.
No. You good job.
I can't believe my daddy is dead. I can think of so many people I would rather have died first. Like my mother.
Why do I feel this way, Marcus?
Because it was real.
What is it about being a superhero where we go around saving lives while ruining them at the same time?
You are just so glass half empty.
Turns out Rex really likes home decorating magazines.
Reminds me of where I grew up.
I grew up in Reseda.
I told you it's gonna be another 4 hours. You want it done fast or done right?
I'm working here.
You know, on my planet, a sock on the door means somebody's f***ing. It means a vagina.
Are we in a line?
Can you give me a break? I just wanted to wait in line.
It's been 2 days. You're fired.
I'm quite serious. He picks up things quicker than any child I've ever worked with.
Oh my gosh, he's a genius!
We're doing everything we can in case this turns ugly, Mark. But we don't have a lot of good options. Keep her talking as long as you can.
Do you know the human head weighs 8 pounds? Do you know bees and dogs can smell fear?
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. They didn't tell you who I was, did they?
Say my name.
Dinobot Maximize!
It's taken me 37 years to accept the fact that there's absolutely zero point in trying to control the future.
Oh, poor Angstrom.
No capes.
Kumbaya, Lord, Kumbaya, oh Lord, Kumbaya.
Who else knows what we know? As we have the same bruises. Experienced what we have experienced?
No one.